Have you ever felt that sudden spike of adrenaline when someone disrespects you? A snide comment, a dirty look, or a blatant insult that makes your blood boil instantly. You want to explode. You want to fight back. But what if I told you that reaction is exactly what makes you weak? Welcome back to INVICTUS X. We live in a world that is addicted to outrage. We are taught that if someone offends us, we must be offended. If someone screams, we must scream louder to prove our dominance. But 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosophers discovered a secret that is almost a superpower in the modern age. They realized that true strength isn't about who can shout the loudest, it's about who can remain the most still. Imagine being a rock in the middle of a violent ocean. The waves crash against it, the wind howls, but the rock simply remains. It doesn't fight the water, it outlasts it. Today, we are going to break down how you can build that same invincible mindset. We aren't talking about being a doormat, we are talking about being untouchable. We're going to cover 7 specific mental shifts that will turn you from an emotional time bomb into a master of your own reality. And stay tuned, because halfway through, I'm going to share a specific strategy, the mental gym, that will change how you view your worst enemies forever. Let's dive in. Attitude 1. The filter of truth. The first step to becoming bulletproof is what we call the interpretation gap. Here is the cold, hard truth. Words are just sound waves traveling through the air. They have no physical mass. They cannot cut your skin. The only reason an insult hurts is because you decided to catch it and stab yourself with it. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic teachers, famously said, "It is not what happens to you that disturbs you, but your judgment about what happens." Think about it. If someone walks up to you and speaks a language you don't understand, and they scream the worst insults imaginable, what do? You probably look at them confused, maybe even chuckle. Why? Because you didn't attach meaning to the noise. The Stoic technique here is simple but brutal. When you are insulted, hit the pause button. Ask yourself, is this true? If someone calls you arrogant and you are actually being arrogant, then the insult is actually a favor. It's data. It's feedback. You shouldn't be mad. You should be busy correcting your behavior. But if the insult is false, then it's a lie. And why would you be upset by a lie uttered by someone who doesn't know the truth? As Marcus Aurelius suggested, if it's not true, it has nothing to do with you. It's a fantasy living in the other person's head. Let it stay there. Attitudes 2 and 3. Active indifference and the mental gym. This leads us to the concept of active indifference. Now, be careful here. Society tells us that ignoring people is passive. We think, if I don't say anything, I look weak. The Stoics disagreed. They believed that anger was an admission of defeat. If you get angry, you are admitting that the other person has the power to disrupt your peace. You are handing them the remote control to your brain and saying, "Here, press this button to make me crazy." Seneca put it best, "A great soul is superior to injury." You need to view your energy as a limited currency. Is this random person in the comments section or this rude driver in traffic worth your expensive mental energy? Usually, the answer is no. Let me tell you a story about a guy we'll call Julian. Julian is a manager at a high-pressure tech firm. Every Tuesday, he has a meeting with a colleague named Mark. Mark loves to make little sarcastic jabs at Julian's presentations in front of the boss. For months, Julian would turn red, stutter, and try to snap back. The meetings became a war zone, and Julian always left exhausted. Mark owned him. Then, Julian adopted the Stoic mental gym mindset, our third attitude. He realized that Mark wasn't an enemy. Mark was his personal trainer.
Just like you go to the gym to lift heavy iron to build biceps, Julian went to the meeting to lift heavy insults to build patience. The next Tuesday, Mark made a snide comment about Julian's data. Instead of reacting, Julian paused, smiled genuinely, and thought, "Ah, excellent, another rep for my patience muscle." He simply nodded and continued the presentation. Mark was baffled. He poked again. Julian didn't flinch. By the end of the meeting, Mark looked desperate and unprofessional, while Julian looked like a leader. When you view provocation as training, you stop being a victim and start being a student of self-mastery.
Attitude 4 and 5, the mirror and the sword of silence. But why do people attack us in the first place? This brings us to attitude 4, the mirror effect. Happy, confident, fulfilled people do not go around destroying others. They don't have the time, and they don't have the desire. When someone attacks you, they are revealing a deep crack in their own foundation. Constructive criticism comes from care. Destructive insults come from pain. When you understand this, your anger transforms into something else: pity. You realize the person screaming at you is actually fighting a war inside themselves. You just happen to be standing in the blast zone. You stop taking it personally because you realized it was never about you. And once you realize it's not about you, you can deploy the most powerful weapon in the Stoic arsenal: silence. Silence is often called the sword of the wise. In a conflict, the aggressor is looking for a specific rhythm. I hit, you hit. I scream, you scream back. It's a dance. When you respond with silence, not a sulking silence, but a confident, staring silence, you break the rhythm. You disrupt their feedback loop. Imagine someone trying to play tennis against a wall that absorbs the ball and never bounces it back. They eventually get tired and stop playing. By staying silent, you force the other person to sit alone with their own words. Usually, they will start to feel foolish, filling the silence with awkward justifications. You win without throwing a single punch.
Attitude 6 and 7, the ego trap and the path of virtue. Now, we have to talk about the enemy within. The only reason the strategies above fail is usually because of one thing: wounded pride. Your ego is a fragile thing. It screams, "Do they know who I am? I can't let them get away with this." The Stoic knows that this voice is a liar. True dignity comes from within, not from the applause or approval of others. If your self-worth is a tank of gas, the ego wants you to fill it at other people's stations. The Stoic fills their own tank. When you feel that spike of pride, ask yourself, am I hurt or is my image hurt? Usually, it's just the image, and an image is nothing worth losing your peace over. Finally, we arrive at the ultimate goal: respond with virtue, not vengeance. It is so tempting to get revenge, to think of the perfect comeback that destroys the other person. But Epictetus warned us, never repay evil with evil. Why? Not because we are nice, but because when you stoop to the level of a toxic person to fight them, you become toxic yourself. You get mud on your soul. The goal of the Stoic is moral excellence. If you remain kind, firm, and rational in the face of chaos, you prove your superiority. You prove that you are the master of your fate. Being cool, logical, and unbeatable isn't about suppressing your emotions until you explode. It's about processing them through the lens of reason. It is about realizing that you cannot control what the world throws at you. You can't control the rude boss, the internet trolls, or the bad drivers, but you have absolute dictatorial power over your own mind. When you interpret before reacting, when you treat insults as training, and when you wield silence like a sword, you become dangerous in the best possible way. You become a person who cannot be manipulated. I want to challenge you this week. The next time someone tries to provoke you, don't snap back. Treat it as a test. Smile, breathe, and remember, you are the rock, not the waves. If you found value in this video, do me a favor. We are building a community of strong minds here at INVICTUS X. Hit that like button to help this message spread. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 7 attitudes is the hardest for you to master? Is it the silence or is it the ego? Share your story below. Let's learn from each other. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom on becoming the master of your life. Until next time, stay strong, stay stoic, and stay invictus.